Baffling it is. Truly baffling it is. What's baffling? How women claim all this independence, and along with that say they do not even need a man, yet at the same time they still expect men to chase and to want them, while at the same time telling men how useless they are and how much they are not needed, but still expected to be traditional men. How is that supposed to work? You see, feminism has taught women to be this independent and to walk around bragging that they do not need a man. Then we see adverts showing men as being morons, absolute idiots with no form of logic or thinking, that need women to help them out basically. That they can't be who they are without a woman in their life. A strong, modern, independent woman. One would say more overbearing than strong. Now understand this. I do not think it's a bad thing women have their freedom to do whatever they want to do. I think it's actually a good thing. But the thing is, they are told this, and they are naive enough to believe this is all for the benefit of them, and not for the benefit of the people that will now tax the hell out of them. So yes, of course, they have their independence in their lives. Like men, they can work themselves to death. Very equal. Equality. But you see, understand this. Those in power know how thirsty men are, and how men often think through their penis. So they understand by controlling the women, they can in turn control a large majority of men. But this is why I say, beyond just not losing yourself, men should have control of their desires. Because understand, when you do so, even if women do not understand it and see how they are being manipulated, by having that control, you can see the manipulation even though they can't. You see, from my point of view, I can see how being blind and being lost is not a good thing for any man nowadays. I do believe one should control his desire. Of course, bust and the move if one chooses to. But at the same time, still have control of your desire to not fall into the trap they want us as men to fall into. Because it's funny how women nowadays have more independence, yet they don't seem much happier than they once did. Are they actually happier? Can we honestly now, in 2019, say that women are happier now than they have ever been? Can we say that? So along with this, and feminism, and modern overbearing women that think it's attractive, and think it's a turn on to men who really do not understand, that is a big turn off. A man could be the thirstiest man in the world, but if he has enough logic and thought, he will still decide, this is not worth the squeeze. This is not worth my efforts. For how much I want to pursue, the majority of women nowadays are not the type of woman I would want to date. They assume men should still want them, when they are being so aggressive, being so blatantly destructive, and still telling men, I do not want you or need you, but if you said the same things as a man, there is something wrong with you. Funny that, isn't it? One would say not equality? You see, the point women miss, where they just want to bash men that say, you know what, I prefer to be single. The point they miss is there must be reasons why. Instead of looking at the deeper reasons, they just want to bash because it's easier. Because they are told how much they are desired, and how they can just be so savage and aggressive and overbearing, and men will still want them anyway. That is a grand lie being told to women every day, and they just believe it. So many of them just believe it. And then they wonder why men like me exist. Men that see the nonsense, men that understand it, and know what is actually best for them. Believe me, for the majority of women out there in my dating pool, I am good. No thank you, I will free them up for many, many more men. Fill your boots. Because you are blind to it, and they bank on your blindness and naiveness to it. So of course they want men to still be so thirsty. Of course they expect us to be so, because men that are not thirsty, what power can you have over them through women? None. Women are told they don't need a man, but many times we see women in their later years in life really sad and depressed, lonely, somewhat have the feeling of abandonment. That's a very common thing nowadays. So to ask the question again, are men happier than women? One could say in women's early years, of course, they would be much happier, because they have an abundance of men throwing themselves at them depending on how attractive they are, or in many cases how mildly attractive they are, because many men are just anything will do, anything will do. But even though women can have these fun, adventurous lives when they're younger, when they get older and these opportunities and these options have now dwindled, they then see that maybe they should have taken their life a slightly different way. Whereas many men who may not have much success when they're younger have far more when they're older. So it's very common to see many men in their older years much more content and happy. Because most men don't have the easy ride in their earlier lives, they understand what they should be focused on, what they should dedicate more time to. Because women bank on their looks so much in their younger years, they assume it will last forever. But when it comes to a point where they see their body start to change and deteriorate, and how it will never be how it once was, that can make them very depressed, very sad, and actually make them quite bitter. Bitter women are a very common thing nowadays. I'm sure that's not news to most of you hearing this. So it is a grand thing that women say they do not need men. Because at the end of the day, men that understand it, that truly understand it, understand that we are the ones that may not need you. That's not in a sense to even be bad, to be harsh, to be bashing, or to be hateful. I do not hate, I just try to understand. So when some wonder why there is a growing trend of men choosing to be single, and also a growing trend of women living very lonely and very sad and depressed lives, understand they were given more power and told this would be better for them and this is how they should act with it. In the end, many are left with nothing but empty wine bottles and cat fur. More and more men naturally will choose to live more single lifestyles. Yes, of course, they may still have fun, but they will never commit. Because of how things are nowadays, men know that committing to a woman for a very small case be beneficial, but for a majority of the time, hold no benefit to them as men. You see, we know as men we can live much better, more prosperous lives by ourselves. We don't have to take on something we do not need to take on. You see, women say they do not need a man, but the actual fact is we are the ones that are already and were already and will be the most independent. That will never change, regardless of how much society wants to change us. Always remember and never forget, women are told they do not need a man. The sad thing is, even though they will never say it, many of them really do know that for all the benefits and things they have, that for all the freedom they have, deep down they know the security that we as men offer is something they will not get anywhere else. The government will help them, but how often will that government hold them and tell them they love them, like so many of us as men have done? Yet all we get now is to be told that we are not worth it. Sometimes they should hold a mirror up to themselves and ask the question, who is really worth it? Who stands to lose more? Who stands to benefit more? Focus. Respect yourself. Remember. The world is yours. Have a nice day. Hello. So I'm currently recording some more videos or editing some more videos, but there are some next to my head right here for you to watch in the meantime.